Hi, Neeraj.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening, all. Welcome to the INA session today on Kochi Water Metro, a green initiative. And we have invited Mr. Shaji, Chief General Manager of Kochi Metro Rail, to deliver the lecture with the chief guest, Mr. Ajithkumar Sukumaran, who is the Chief Surveyor, DG Shipping, and the session chair will be Professor Sivaprasad. Today's agenda is the first part of the session. We will be having a remembrance. We have lost one doyen of naval architecture in India, Mr. Kochhar. So we would remember him for his lifetime contribution, and I request Mr. Banerjee to take over the remembrance session as INA remembers Mr. Kochhar.
Thank you, Mr. Anger. Let me thank Mr. Dasgupta for giving me this singular honor of kind of moderating this remembrance session for Mr. Kochhar, who I knew from way back. And he was also my first boss in ABS, American Bureau of Shipping, where I still continue today. And I will invite a couple of guests to speak about him. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about Mr. Kochhar. He was born on the 5th of February, 1936 in Gujranwala, which is part of Pakistan now. So it was undivided India then. And then during partition, they moved to Karnal, which is in Haryana today. And that is where he did most of his schooling. And at some point, after his pre-university studies, he joined IIT in around 1955, passing out with a BTech in Naval Architecture in 1960. The first job that he took was as a junior draftsman in Mazagon Dock. A lot of the present company will probably know about that. So at that time, Mazagon Dock did not have any officer level category. Naval architects were not kind of recognized as full-fledged engineers. So that's the way he started off, and then went up to a kind of senior position in Mazagon Dock before joining American Bureau of Shipping as a surveyor in 1969. His career in ABS was nothing short of meteoric, actually, because he, from 69 to 1978, in 9 years, he became the country manager. At that time, it was known as principal surveyor for India. And that is possibly when I first met him. I was a young kid. I was probably in class 10 or something. And he remained as the country manager until 2001. So he had a run of 23 years as a country manager in ABS. After his retirement, he worked with ABS Consulting for about 3 years. Then I think another 3 years with Dolphin Offshore as in a very senior level, advising them. And then with numerous other companies, including Navgati Consultants. And this is a brief history of his life, but it does not really tell you about the man. So I will invite Professor R.P. Gokaran to speak a few words about him. Professor Gokaran?
So you have to unmute, sir. You are muted. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is with a feeling of deep personal loss that I say that these few words in remembrance of Mr. M.L. Kochhar. I first met Mr. Kochhar in 1957 when he was a third-year student at IIT Kharagpur, and I had just joined in the first year. His many qualities of head and heart enabled him to reach the top position in his last organization. He helped many people in many ways, at IIT Kharagpur, whenever we wanted some help, we used to approach him and he always obliged us. When my retirement from IIT Kharagpur approached, I also turned to him and he fixed me up at a place where I stayed for the next 15 years. He also directed people who had a specific technical problem to me. Like many others, I shall never be able to repay the great debt that I owe to him. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gokarn. We have Mr. Palit, KK Palit. Mr. Palit needs no introduction in this company. He was retired as a very senior executive from the Shipping Corporation of India, and thereafter he was with India Steamship Company, and thereafter in other capacities as well. Mr. Palit, I request you to.
Thank you. Today on this occasion, I am speaking with a grave hurt to mention about the sad demise of one of our very senior naval architect, Mr. Madan L. Kochhar. I am personally very sad to hear this bad news about Mr. Kochhar Sahab. Mr. Kochhar passed out from IIT Kharagpur during the year 1960. I passed 5 years later. Though much senior to me, he always treated me as a close friend. It is not only me, he always treated all naval architects, senior or junior, and also his office colleagues in a very friendly way, which is unbelievable. Thus, Mr. Kochhar had touched the lives of many naval architects throughout his life. When I was working in SCI, Mumbai, Mr. Kochhar was in charge of ABS Indian head office at Mumbai. I used to meet him quite often in his office, just by myself or with some others in my profession. I used to feel very happy to be with him to talk about SCI projects and all other professional matters. If he was busy when we arrived in his office and we found him talking to someone else over phone, he would order tea, coffee for us, and as soon as he was free, he would join us. I used to be amazed to see the amount of energy and patience he had to deal with so many matters at the same time. I will remember him for his warmth, generosity, magnetic personality, fearless spirit, and unshakable faith in friendship. While I am speaking to you, gentlemen, I wish to mention that Mr. Kochhar was one of the senior members of Naval Architect Group, who, along with two other naval architects, Mr. Damle and Mr. Sundaram, my ex-boss in SCI, was instrumental in shifting the head office of Institution of Naval Architects from Kharagpur to Mumbai, based on the reasoning that most of the naval architects were working at Mumbai and in other cities along the west coast of our country. It was a bold decision. I remember another very major incident while I was working with SCI. During the year late 1970s, SCI had acquired 4 numbers very large OBOs from Split Shipyard, Croatia. These were classed with ABS. Due to some unknown reason, maybe some defective design or poor construction, there used to be structural failure at different locations of the vessel, which made commercial operation rather difficult. The SCI decided to blacklist the shipyard and started a legal action against this shipyard. Almost simultaneously, SCI took a stringent action against ABS class on the grounds that the society had approved the drawings and had surveyed those vessels. That time, a large number of SCI ships were classed with ABS. The SCI management decided to change the class from ABS to other classification societies. After several years of discussion between top managements of ABS and SCI, the vessels were reclassed with ABS, but no more orders were placed on split shipyard. My point of mentioning this commercial issue is that even during those few years when SCI had declassed ABS vessels, I never saw Mr. Kochhar avoiding friendship with any of the SCI naval architects. I was really amazed to see Mr. Kochhar's ever smiling face even during those years. I cannot but admire quality in him. I understand that Mrs. Kochhar had passed away a couple of years back, and I feel that Mr. Kochhar's beloved wife has dragged her dear husband to join her wherever she is. I pray Almighty God to give his soul peace and eternal happiness. Let us all pray in loving memory of Kochhar Shah.
Thank you, Mr. Palit, for those very revealing words about how Mr. Kochhar was. That was also my understanding of his nature. He was somebody who never really gave up. So we still have a couple of minutes. Is there anybody else in this company who would like to say a few words? We have two or 3 minutes left. If not, well, I will say a few words actually, because I was associated with him very closely right from the time I joined. And as many people have mentioned, he was very encouraging to young people starting out in their career. And one of the things that he taught me, one of the lessons which I've never forgotten, is that he used to say that you are young, you do not have experience, you do not have knowledge, but that does not make you inferior to other people. Never consider yourself inferior. And other people have more knowledge because they have more experience. So that does not make them superior to you. So this is something, a life lesson that kind of stayed with me in my dealing with people. It really transformed the way I looked at, especially when you meet somebody very senior in the industry. It gave me a platform from which to, I was still young and inexperienced, but it gave me some kind of stand in my progress. So that is something that I will never forget. And he was a guide, mentor. He was friendly, he was approachable. And beside all that, of course, I shared a close relationship with his family. Both Tarun and Neeraj, I know them from way back. And so it's really nice, Tarun and Neeraj, that you're here today to hear some of the things that people have to say about their father. And it's been a privilege knowing him. That's what I can say. If there's nothing else, we'll just have a 1 minute silence in his memory, and then I'll pass the session back to Mr. Anger. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hand the session back to Dr. Iyengar.
Thank you, sir. It was a privilege for INA to have remembered Mr. Kochhar, the lifetime contribution. Remember. Now we would commence the second part of today's.
Just can I have an interruption, please?
Yeah, please.
I think I'll take this opportunity to also share a few words about Mr. Kochhar because since 2017, when I shifted here at Navi Mumbai, I used to have very frequent meetings with him, and he has been guiding me as to how to go ahead with the functioning of the Institution of Naval Architects. And I personally am deeply indebted to him. It has been a loss of a father figure because he was the, kind of a chairman of the managing council of Institution of Naval Architects as well. While on this topic, it is, we also lost a very senior member of the Naval Architect community, Mr. Partha Barman Roy, and he passed away day before yesterday in the evening. So it's been a very sad news. Unfortunately, it's just happened. So we don't think his family will be in a position to join a condolence meeting today. So we are not holding it today. We shall hold it sometime later. I also heard that Mr. Vijay Kumar, he wanted to join here today, but unfortunately he got stuck with his medical treatment, which is undergoing right now. So he has expressed his inability to join in to, show his indebtedness and appreciation of Mr. Kochhar, the way he has helped him all his life. With that, I transfer it back to Mr. Dr. Iyengar. Please go ahead and start the second session, part 2 of the session, please. And thank you, Tarun and Neeraj, for joining here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hope you remain healthy and happy all through your lives.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to start the technical part of the session. Today's lecture is on Kochi Water Metro, a green initiative by Mr. Shaji. The chief guest for today's function, today's webinar is Mr. Ajithkumar Sukumaran, Chief Surveyor and Assistant Director General of DG Shipping. And the session chair will be Professor Sivaprasad. It's my privilege to introduce Professor Sivaprasad. He taught me the course on shipbuilding and during my college days. He is a BTech in Naval Architecture and Shipbuilding from Kochi University of Science and Technology in 1989. And he got his degree with first class honors and university second rank. Worked as a senior naval architect, design office in Mazagon Docks. And he was awarded British Commonwealth Association sponsored Overseas Development Authority Scholarship for postgraduate studies in British universities and did his MSc in ship production technology from University of Strathclyde, Glasgow. Since he has been working as a lecturer, senior lecturer, reader, associate professor, and now professor in the Department of Ship Technology, Kochi University. He is a member of the Executive Council, Indian Maritime University, member, Court, Indian Maritime University during 2015 to 2018, member, National Monitoring Committee on Minority Education, Ministry of Human Resource Development since 2018, member, Export Committee, Transport Engineering Department, Bureau of Indian Standards since 2019, member, Technical Expert Panel, DRDO since 2019, member, Research Board, Indian Maritime University since 2020, and he has pioneered PhD in ship recycling related studies entitled Best Practices for Ship Recycling Processes from Kochi University in 2011, published more than 50 technical articles related to maritime technology and technical education, produced 3 PhDs, and carried out sponsored research and individual consultancy research projects more than 60 lakhs, and worked as a consultant naval architect and maritime technology experts in design, construction, operation, inspection, testing and development of software, ship stability, environmental protection, renewable energy. He's panel member, approved consultant, implementation of Kerala Inland Vessel Act 2010 and the Maritime Development Board, Government of Kerala. Member of the Board of Studies of Naval Architecture and Shipbuilding and Aeronautical Engineering programs in Kochi University. And expert committee member of curriculum development for Bachelor of Technology in Naval Architecture and Shipbuilding in Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala. Head of the inspection panel of design and construction of the India's first solar-powered ferry boat owned by Government of Kerala. Member of India Technical Committee Class NK and independent director of Board of Directors, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Ministry of Heavy Industries, Government of India. With this, sir, I'll hand over the session to Professor Sivaprasad.
Thank you, Dr. Bharadwaj. Respected members, senior members from Institution of Naval Architects, other dignitaries, speakers, Mr. Shaji PJ and Ajit Sukumaran, sir, the participants who are those who have joined online and also listening to this, viewing this seminar through the YouTube channel. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know why Bharadwaj INA selected me as the chair of the session, because probably my connection with Kochi, and Kochi is a developing maritime center in India, and maybe because of that they might have thought I would be the right person to chair this. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Shaji PJ, who is the main speaker of this session. Shaji PJ is a very young and enthusiastic naval architect in our country. He graduated his BTech in Naval Architecture and Shipbuilding from Department of Ship Technology, Kochi University of Science and Technology in 1993. He's also a Master of Business Administration. He took his degree, MBA, from Chiefly Business School in Australia. And he's also a postgraduate in Marine Engineering from Kochi University of Science and Technology. Mr. Shaji has wide range of experiences in teaching, industrial, both design and manufacturing, and in the administrative sector. He's an accomplished Toastmaster and possesses extraordinary oratory skills. Shaji has proved his leadership in the Toastmans Club as club level as well as in the zonal level. He was there in the region, the zone consisting of Kerala and Karnataka. He's currently working as Chief General Manager of Water Metro, and I had an opportunity to travel in a vessel designed, manufactured, and run by Kochi Metro, Water Metro Rail Corporation. And he's the main thrust behind the development that is being happened and that's being in the Kochi Metro, the Water Metro Corporation. And he's also a member of Board of Studies of Department of Ship Technology at Kochi University of Science and Technology. On behalf of Indian Institute of Naval Architects, I join with you in inviting Sri Shaji PJ as the main speaker of this session. The next, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Sri Ajit Sukumaran, who is the chief guest of this session. Ajit Sukumaran sir is a BTech graduate in mechanical engineering from Kerala University. He's also a marine engineer, a Class 1 marine engineer with Government of India. And he also possesses a postgraduate degree in maritime operations and management, and that degree he took it from IIT Kharagpur. Currently, Sri Ajithkumaran sir is working as Chief Surveyor with Government of India under Director General of Shipping, and also he is Additional Director General of Shipping Engineering with DG Shipping. He has 10 years of experience as marine engineer and 20 years experience as surveyor with Directorate General of Shipping, Government of India. He was a member of Academic Council of Indian Maritime University, Chairman of TED 90 Session Committee in Marine Engineering of Euro Indian Standards. He has represented India in various maritime conventions under IMO. He was a leader of delegation to Maritime Environment Protection Committee, MEPC, and also Maritime Safety Committee. He served as government nominee in Board of Trustees of Chennai Port Trust, Cochin Port Trust, and New Mangalore Port Trust. I take this opportunity to invite Sri Ajithkumaran sir as the chief guest of the session. And I request Mr. PJ Shaji to start his session.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Respected senior members of the Indian Institute of Naval Architects, our chief guest for the day, Sri Ajithkumar Sukumaran, and other dignitaries, and the audience, dignitaries in the audience, and all the viewers. A wonderful evening to all of you. As you all know, I think many of you have already seen and visited Kochi. Kochi city is located at the center of a rapidly urbanizing coastal and estuarine regions. A city characterized by crisscrossing canals and rivers connected to a backwater system. Waterways used to play a key role in the socio-economic and cultural development of the region. Kochi Water Metro project is a special innovation project whose de jure owner is the Government of Kerala, with an intent to improve urban water transport system in Kochi, connecting 10 islands around Kochi mainland. The proposed waterway aim to integrate the system with the other modes of transport, such as city buses, taxis, auto rickshaws, the metro rail systems, over a period of time with an integrated fare and an integrated timetable. The Water Metro project is envisaged as a game changer to bring back water transport as one of the urban transport instruments, which are environmentally friendly, safe, and modern transport system. Let me share, I have a few slides to show you. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you so much. The topics for the discussion today are, I'm going to give a general introduction of the Water Metro project, the routes and the geography, then different components of the Water Metro project, the green part of Water Metro project, and what is unique about this particular project, the benefits of the projects, and future prospects. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just begin with the introduction part. The Kochi Water Metro project is an integrated urban transport system. Like you see, this project is being executed by Kochi Metro Rail Limited as a project execution agency. The entire project is owned by government of Kerala, with a funding from German funding agency called KfW, Credit and Stored for Weather Ofco. The tax component is paid by government, and the project cost has been taken from German funding agency called KfW. This project is intending to develop holistically the surroundings of Kochi. This project is trying to augment the ferry-based transportation system as a model shift. As you know, our roads are congested. Another thing is there are water transport system existing in Kochi by the state government and the other private parties. But one of the problems they face is the reliability factor. If one boat is not there, when is the next boat going to come in? So this project is having a purpose of bringing the metro-like experience to the people around, which means it will have a fixed time interval like metro, and a person who is in the city can wait for, say, suppose 10:10, I have a boat leaving the jetty. He can come at 10:10 and get on with that boat. That is the kind of reliability we want to bring in, and that's the kind of system we want to bring in the Kochi area, with a shorter headways and higher connectivity. So with this introduction, let me just go into the various geography of the project. This is the different municipalities, corporations, and the panchayats in Kochi. It covers one Kochi corporation, then 4 municipalities and 7 panchayats around Kochi. And the routes, we have about 15 routes identified, which of course is going to be dynamic. Depending on the demand, it will change. As of now, we have planned 15 routes. It's around Kochi, I would say. Many of you may not be knowing the places if I mention the particular places, but it's about 76 kilometers of route length we are covering by this project. Now, let me just speak about a few components or main components of this project. We have 38 terminals as part of this project. Then 64 floating pontoons, they are floating jetties. I will explain about it in detail. We are envisaging 78 number of boats, 23 numbers of 100-passenger boats, and 55 numbers of 50-passenger boats. And there are some workboat come rescue or ambulance boats. Each one function, I will let you know after this. And since we have this consists of so many number of boats, about 80 odd fleet numbers of boats. The fleet is such a big one, so we are going to have boat yards. We have 2 boat yards in the DPR. Then we will be using the boat yard for the maintenance and dry docking of the boats. Then we have a integrated traffic management system attached with the project, with a centralized control center, which is called the Operation Control Center, the security and surveillance facilities, then automatic fare collection system. So such integrated traffic management systems are also attached with this project. There is dredging is another component of project, because we have to maintain the waterways with sufficient depth to keep the boat fly efficiently. Let me go now one by one. This is the first component, obviously, is the boat, water metro boat. These boats are twin hull catamarans made of aluminium. The hull is made of aluminium and the superstructure is made of FRP. You are seeing the boat through the window of the axle boat. It has got a hybrid propulsion system, hybrid electric propulsion system. The main propulsion system is the electric propulsion system, but it is augmented by 2 generators, which will be used only when we need a high power or when we are in emergency situation like battery failure, etc. These are battery operated ones with lithium titanate batteries. It's a specialized battery, I would say, because batteries are having a life cycle of about 35,000 cycles for the charging, recharging. Each cycle is one charging, one charging, and getting it discharged. So 35,000 cycles, which means it can live for about 7 to 10 years, depending on the number of charging. We're expecting about 10 plus charging per day for these boats. And the main propulsion is using electric power only. And as of now, we are going to be using the Kerala State Electricity Board power, though we have an intention to go for whole renewable energy, which I will explain it in the coming slides. The boat capacity, as I have mentioned in my previous slide, 100 passengers and 50 passengers. The speed is 8 to 10 knots. Diesel, as I mentioned, when we need, the normal operation is 8 knots. And when we need 10 knots, we will use the generator also for the augmentation. And when we require like places like Fort Kochi near to the sea, where the water, the movements, the water and the waves are all very high, we may need more power for the mooring, etc. So at that time also, we might use the generator power for our propulsion system. Now, these are the specifications of the boat. I have already briefed majority of them. You can have a look at it. The crew members for this boat is 3 only. It is written as 4. It was 4 before. Now we got an amendment to the KIV rules, wherein it is allowing the battery-operated boats to have 3 members as the crew members system. It is the passenger area is fully air-conditioned. So is the battery space and also the wheelhouse. The battery capacity is 61 into 2 kilowatt hour. We have 2 generators of 35 kilowatt each. It can operate in 3 modes. One is battery alone, generator alone, and also with battery and generator together. So with single power source, either battery or DG set, we will get 8 knots, and when we operate it together, we can go in 10 knots, and we have a lot of combinations of flexibility with these 3 power sources or three modes of power. We can have a flexibility in various operations of this boat. So this is about the vessel specification, I would say. I would show you a few pictures about the boats under construction in Cochin shipyard. The boats are being built. 23 numbers or boats are being ordered to Cochin shipyard. And we have more boats. We have called up tender for 50 passenger boats, which is yet to be opened. At this point in time, only 100 passenger boats, 23 numbers of 100 passenger boats are in order. We've received 4 boats. The 5th one is about to be received. So these are the different photos we've taken during the construction stages. You can see the aluminum hull and the aluminum frames as such. Now let's go to the floating pontoon. This is another speciality of the project. I would say the pontoons are, its material is concrete, as you see it over there. And the core material for the pontoon is the expanded polystyrene, EPS we call it. And the size is 24 by 4.8 for the 100 passenger boat and 15 meter by 4 meter for the 50 passenger boat. See, as you know, this floating pontoon is another typical innovations or typical way of this project. I don't think so anywhere else this kind of jetties are being used for the passenger ferries in India. These are having this disabled-friendly design. Disabled-friendly design, when I say, it has got the same freeboard as the boat. So irrespective of the tidal variations or the flood, the boat and the jetty will remain at the same height. It is locked on two piles, which means X and Y axis motions are arrested. The only motion allowed is the Z direction motion. So it will go up and down only. So that's how the design is done. It is connected with an aluminum gangway from the terminal to the pontoon. So it is kept slightly away from the terminal side. We have provision for the solar panel on the pontoon roof. Then, as I mentioned, there is a pile guide, which is having enough bearing capacity for going up and down on the pile. These pontoons will move on through the pile as such. Then we are placing the boat chargers. As I was telling you, it is an electrically operated vessel. We have very fast charging mechanism for this project. So these are mounted on these floating pontoons. These are a few components. You can see one of the floating pontoons installed at one of the terminals. It is an incomplete work. We'll have a canopy to cover it with the CCTV camera, etc. And the aluminum gangway picture, you can see the pile also. I have just taken some photos and kept. The expanded polystyrene material also is shown in the picture. And this is how they are casting it in the yard. So it is having about, as I told you, it will float with the same freeboard as the boat. The terminals, we have some terminals with three types of terminals we are designed for this project: major, intermediate, and minor. We expect a few terminals to have about 1,000 passenger footfall per hour, and some places it is less than 300. The in-between one is called intermediate. The 300 to 1,000 footfall per hour is categorized as intermediate terminal. There are paid area and unpaid area similar to you see in the metro system. Once you paid, taken the ticket, or once you entered into the paid area, you have the commercial facilities are going to be there in the terminal. It is not like a typical boat jetty, what you see in the current scenario. It is a separate building with a lot of facilities. It has got the automatic fare collection system, wherein you can use the same card as the metro card. You can just show the card. There is a turnstile arranged for it, so you can enter it straight away into it. There is nobody to give the ticket for you in this boats. It can be collected already outside. Then passenger counting system is also there at the terminal, which is mainly to prevent the overcrowding, which is one of the concerns we had seen around with the accidents in Tekri and all. So passenger counting system is going to serve as the one of the component where it will limit. It is like in the big malls and all, you must have seen the vacancies are shown, how many seats are vacant in the parking area. Similarly, these boats also, before the boat reaches to a particular terminal, it will show that this boat has so many number of seats vacant. So only that many number will be allowed to enter to the boat. That means a 100-passenger boat will never have more than 100 passengers traveling in the boat. It is automatically controlled. And we have a waiting area with toilet, washroom facilities, MIP rooms, and then feeding facility, etc. All are provided in the terminal. These are a few pictures of the terminals which are under construction and is about to be completed. We have one at the High Court Junction. You can see that this is the biggest terminal, which at the High Court Junction we have 8 pontoons placed there, which means 8 places. 8 jetties are there at this High Court terminal, and the one at High Court is near the Roro Jankar, which is plying between Fort Kochi and Waipin. So this is the terminal at Waipin. Then the next one you can see the Bolgati terminal also. So these are all typical islands around Kochi. Now I have a few more photos which is coming up in later part of the slides. Now let me highlight a few things about the integrated traffic management system. As I was mentioning to you, we have a operation control center which is going to be controlling the entire fleet with its operations and the maintenance also. So maintenance will be dealt in shipyard, but then in case of an emergency, the central command will take charge and control the operation throughout the system. So everything is being monitored at the operation control center, which is for our system in Kochi. It is placed in a place called Vaitila. So Vaitila is another hub where the metro station is available there. It's one of the most important or busiest bus terminal, and you have taxis, rickshaws, etc. available there, along with the boat travel. So it's a integrated hub, we can say, the Vaitila Mobility Hub. So similarly, we have in 2-3 locations also have the similar facilities, like in the case of Info Park. It's another hub where we are having this kind of facility. Then the other facility in this boat is the automatic boat location system. Every information of the boat at the location of the boat at every point in time is controlled or monitored at this center. We have a automatic boat location system. We can even track the boat's route of the boat later after it is completed. We can say this time to this time, or morning time to evening time, what was the travel route of the boat. Everything can be monitored with this system. Like in the case of Uber, you can see the boat movement in the system, which is at the located in the operation control center. The communication system, as I said, we are connecting with the emergency channel of the Cochin port, channel 16, the national emergency channel, and we also have a dedicated VHF channel for the entire system. So the boat to boat and boat to the operation control center can be communicated through a particular channel which is there, and then we have a digital mobile radio. In case the voice may fails it, we can even send messages through this system on the screen of the boat as such. Then passenger counting system, I have already explained to you. It is restricting the passengers. Then automatic fare collection system is similar to what you see in the metro. The surveillance by the CCTV, the boat itself is carrying 30 odd CCTV cameras, and almost every part of the body, part of the boat can be seen. Even in the wheelhouse, all the cameras can be seen in the wheelhouse, and also it can see the individual cameras by selection, and this can be also been monitored from the operation control center. So it is the safety and security wise, it is one of the best, we can say it. And the navigational equipment is another set of things we have. I'll have another slide for it, so I'll come back to it. As far as the waterway is concerned, I have already mentioned the entire route length is 76.2 kilometers, the boat operation, if you add up all the routes, the length of the routes. And the majority of the operation is already safe operation, because about 70% is having the navigation lights, which is already there. There are the National Waterways 3, which is about 40% of the entire route. And then Cochin Port Waters is another area where we are operating into. Then obviously the irrigation waters and the inland, further interiors also we are going in. So that those places we need a lot of dredging. The minimum requirement, we are 2 meters plus 2.5 meters. As I told you, the draft of the vessel is 9 meters. So we are trying to have more than 3 meters in maximum places. And in national waterways channels, we have enough, but in other places, we are dredging it out and making the width of the channel to the required level. And as you know, the boat is not always in the channel. It approaches the terminal. There we have a less limited draft, which is about 1.5 meters. We'll ensure at the low tide time. This is how the channel is maintained. We have navigational buoys and navigational assistance. Water weed is another. Water hyacinth is a seasonal one, but it is a huge hindrance. we are going to have people engaged for controlling this as well. So this is in that one of the green elements of the part of the project to keep the Vembanad Lake clean with maintenance dredging and the removal of this water hyacinths. This is part of this project. It's about 6.5 lakhs of cubic meters of dredging is what is envisaged in this project as such. Now, we have, as I was mentioning you, about 80 odd boats without a facility for maintenance. It is very difficult to survive. So we have envisaged 2 boat yards. But as of now, we have taken up leased out the land in the Kinfra area, which is near the Info Park. And we are also looking at another facility in Febra for the boat yard. So boat yard is just not started. Just initial tendering process is on. It is not started. It is just coming up, but there is going to be boat yard for maintenance of these boats. We'll have cranes to lift it. We have cradles also, cradles and the belts to lift the boats out. And we at the same time we can have 4 boats in the yard. This is what our planning is. In addition to the afloat repairs. In fact, we have night parking facilities as well there. Every day, there will be health check of the boat planned before it is being operated for the next day. Every evening, each boat will be checked as part of that is planned as part of the project, as part of the operation point of view. We also have 4 workboat come ambulance or rescue boats, which is nothing but the entire geography will be covered by 4 boats. These 4 boats are high-speed boats, which are also, one boat is already made ready, is constructed, already finished, the trials and all over. We are going to be getting it, waiting for a DG shipping approval for one voyage from Pondicherry. This is constructed in Pondicherry by Ultramarine. Which we are going to get it. It is designed with the 18 knots speed with all the facilities of the ambulance, stretcher, etc., rescue boats, and the like. So at a time, it can carry 20 people off with a speed. We have achieved about 23 knots while we had the trials, and it is having the 1-ton crane and almost a good facility workshop arranged within it. So it's a maintenance come ambulance. What we're planning to do with this is to keep it at 10 minutes distance away from our stations. So when we have all the 4 boats and all the system working, these boats will be placed at strategic locations so that any incident, one of the boats could reach the location in 10 minutes. This is the strategy planned with the workboat come ambulance. Okay, now these are the different components of the boat. Now let me just speak about a few green initiatives of this project. As I have mentioned, these are lightweight, recyclable material. Lightweight, of course, is going to be helpful for using less power. We have the aluminum and fiberglass. Both are lightweight, but the hull is the aluminum, which is recyclable. Low draft, low wake hull design. This is again, in terms of power consumption, we will have less power consumption in terms of draft, etc. Then I was mentioning you about Vembanad Lake, keeping the Vembanad Lake clean by cleaning the water hyacinths and the maintenance dredging. Then we will have the boats as such. I had mentioning, so almost no discharge. There is no discharge from the boat. There is no toilet on the boat because the terminals are 10 minutes away. So we are not having any toilet or any other discharge from the boat. Then electric hybrid propulsion. The main operation is with the electric power only when it's emergency situation or high power requirement, we'll use the diesel generator. Otherwise, it is electric power. So the carbon emission is much less in this case. Then low wake design, which one of the highlight is that even if it goes at 8 knots, which is not normal in the inland waters, about 4 to 5 or maximum 6 knots, so we could see the boats flying. This is at 8 knots, you can't see the there's no significant wave which is there coming out of this boat, so which is protecting the shore, because there are a lot of Kochi, as you know, the shores are very volatile. There are a lot of fisher folks. The people are using the shore. So these kind of huge waves could impact the system of the living of the people. So these boats have taken care of such factors of creating waves due to the high speed of the boat. Then reduced greenhouse gas emissions, since we are using only the electric power for the entire operation. There is no greenhouse gas coming out of the project. Then, since it's a battery-operated boat, there's no noise. We can say no considerable noise. Basically, there are some you can see, but then even if you speak to each other within the boat, you can hear it without shouting. So as far as, and we always have, it's air-conditioned space. It is kept under lock, so its noise level is very, very minute. So that way, the pollution also. We have an intention to go for a net zero power consumption. We have already initiated the work on it. Our intention is to have a solar facility by our own and take the power to the grid, and we take the power from the grid of KSCB. But the entire power required for our operation is expected to be generated from our own solar yard, which we already, the process have been started. So by that time, when we establish that, the entire system, we will have these kind of setup also. So which means we'll spend zero cost for the fuel, or effectively. That is what we are waiting for. Maybe it may take a few more years to get that established. These are point I've already said. When we establish the intended mode shift, that is from the people who are using own vehicles on the road, the own cars, other things, etc. People, when they move to the water mode, we will see a lot of change. By about 2035, we have our team estimated the significant change of significant reduction in the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and the other harmful components of the emissions as such. You see about 116,278 tons of carbon dioxide will be reduced on the road when we have the full operation in place. And the carbon monoxide is about 114 tons by 2035. So this is something which is envisaged as part of the project. So this is why we say it's a green initiative. Okay, I will show you a few more pictures of the terminals. This is the picture of the Waipin. You can see a terminal which is about to be, that's where we are going to be starting the inaugural route, which is expected in November. From Waipin to High Court is our initial route we're going to start. We are waiting for the boats to come. We have other terminals, like this is the Cheranallur terminal, this is the South Chittoor terminal, we have Elu terminal, Vaitila, Kakanad. All these terminals are kept ready. The moment we get more boats on board, we will be starting the operations of the system. The first starting, we're waiting for the 5th boat to come, which is expected in a few weeks' time. So we will be starting the first operation between High Court and Waipin, and which will in turn go to Fort Kochi, Matancheri, etc. So the savings, which will take about less than 20 minutes for the Fort Kochi or Waipin to High Court, which otherwise would be taking especially for Kochi to the Ernakulam in the peak transportation time, it might take even 2 hours. So which is going to be 20 minutes by using this kind of transport. That is the kind of savings we are going to be doing it. And it has got a lot of the potential for reaching out the development of the islands also, which I will just tell you with the close of it. It's just a few more slides only. Now, let me just now speak about what is unique about this project. Okay. I told you, first time in India, we are going to have a passenger control system. None of the water transport in India has this system in place. But Kochi Water Metro will have the passenger control system, which means it will never allow more than the allowed number of persons on board, and thereby overcrowding and the subsequent accident. Disabled-friendly jetties, floating pontoons. In India, this is not being practiced yet. It will be coming up. It will be coming up soon with the with the Kochi Metro leading the way. So a person with a motorized wheelchair can independently drive onto this boat. That is the speciality of these arrangements as such, irrespective of the tidal variations. As you see, the current boats, the tide is down, the boat is going to be up. There's going to be a safety issue for climbing up on the boat. If the tide is less, it's a low tide, then the boat will be down. People will still have the problem. So that is avoided by having this floating pontoons, and it's a disabled-friendly or differently able-friendly arrangement for this. This is the first time in India. Then battery electric boats. This is also battery-operated electric boats. We have, which is again in the first time in India. That is the another thing is centrally controlled water transport system. Such a number of fleet in under one command and control is not there in Asia too. Obviously, first in India. 78 number boats plus 4 numbers of work boats, so 82 boats under one command and control. Then integrated water transport system, the hubs, which we call it, have connection with the other modes of transport, thereby connecting it. There'll be feeder services from these locations connected to the other modes of transport like metro, railway station, etc., which is anyway part of the Kochi Metro Rail's thinking process. And also there is already established certain places, these feeder services. And Water Metro is also intended to have feeder services connecting the important places, important metro stations, and other transport modes of transport. And majority of our jetties are nearby a bus stand. So it is at least 2 modes are getting connected there. That's how we have selected the locations. Battery charger. This is another speciality. As we say, the largest capacity EV chargers are placed here. It is 150 kilowatt capacity chargers. There's nowhere else. It is for the water transport. That is there for the first time, and such a big level of charging. It will handle up to 200 amperes, and the voltage varies from 200 to 1000 volts. So that's how the charging system is specified. And we already have started the charging system operation also. The boats have been charged using these EV chargers based on the floating pontoons. Now come to the benefits of this project. This is mainly a passenger ferry, but it can be used. We have intention to use it for the other purposes also. The island, it is like like I always say, like the waterways are the curry, and these islands are placed as the pieces, and we are connecting, these boats are connecting to these each pieces of the islands around. Then decongestion on the road. Of course, I have told you how much is the saving in terms of reduction in the greenhouse gas and the carbon monoxide and SOx, NOx, etc. Then tourism potential, I would say, is there are lots of islands. If somebody comes to Kochi, they may go to Munnar or Alapi for further. This is only a transit point, but Kochi itself is having a lot of tourism potentials. There are places where unexploited places, the islands around where there are a bird sanctuary, we can say it. And there's a place called Kadamakudi where we have terminals. You can see the sunset, and also it's about 150 different types of birds are coming into this place. It's a beautiful place you can see. And so similar locations are around, surrounded by water. People will like it. It's a tourism potential is very high, and this introduction of this boats are going to connect these beautiful islands, and the tourism around Kochi also going to be getting improved by these boats. As I was mentioning, the travel time between the high traffic areas are getting reduced by the introduction of these boats. Different modes are obviously getting connected. I've told you. We have facilities, and facilities to make our terminals are going to be a social hotspots where people can come and have. We will have various commercial shops and the development of the islanders. We'll have facilities for them in the nearby terminals, terminal areas. So we are developing the infrastructure also around the terminals. So whereby improving the livelihood and the life of the islanders, which means if you have a terminal, we will make the road towards the terminal and lit up that area so that it's going to be a social hotspot. Then socio-economic development of the islands are obviously going to happen as soon as we have when we have the system in place. And as such, it has already we can see the developments in the islands as such. Then enhanced employment opportunities. We are going to have, if you just take 3 people on a boat, we have 82 boats. So 2 shifts of people. We are intending to operate up to 10 p.m. So which means at least 2 shifts of people on the boat itself, which is about 2 plus 2 plus 6 would leave 2.56 into 2, about 8 people per boat. So 80 boats. So that itself is coming to about 500 people, employment of 500 people. Then we have terminal controllers in the terminals, then security, housekeeping. So there's a huge employment opportunity coming up as part of this system. Now, where all we can have these kind of systems, as you say, cities with navigable waterways like Kochi, then water or backward, where there is a backwater, then where you want to really decongest and you have the water facilities, you can do it. And these are the places where we can have these things, this kind of setup arranged. We also have had a look at across India. We have many places we can implement this system. In Kerala itself, there are 2-3 places we can have a similar kind of a system implemented. And it is at the Prime Minister level discussions are also happening for implementing one at the Varanasi, and also there are some discussions for the for bringing it into the Bangladesh. People have already approached us. Then also we have some kind of discussions are going with the Jammu Kashmir lake also. So these are the places where we this is different national waterways. All these places we can have a possibility of having the water metro implemented. And so this integrated model is going to be helping the urban transport to integrate with the rest of the transport and to establish, facilitate the integrated traffic system in the urban area. Thank you so much. Back to the moderator. And
thank you, Mr. Shaji. I think you should come back after Sri Ajithkumar sir is.
No problem. I'll just stop sharing and wait.
Yeah. I would request Mr. Sukumaran sir, the Additional Director General of Shipping, to have his speech as the guest of honor, and you kindly enlighten us on the maritime development goals to 2030 set by the Government of India, and also something on Sagarmala if you get time. Thank you, sir. Please.
Respected President of INA, Dasgupta sir, who is an iconic status for the survey community from India. Also, Technical Secretary, Dr. Iyengar, Session Chair, Professor Sivaprasad, Keynote Speaker, Shaji, other stalwarts from the industry, members of INA, and other attendees. A warm good evening from the Indian Maritime Administration. In fact, it is my honor and privilege to address such an informed and elite gathering of maritime professionals, because shipbuilding is in a way called the nation building. In that sense, those who propel such buildings, the naval architects, in fact, deserve to be called the nation builders. Naval architecture is considered to be one of the oldest professions because men ventured into sea for their livelihood. And today, the entire world is moving around the shipping, and the great amount of gratitude goes to the designers and the builders, that is the naval architects. And it has never changed for the last several centuries. Even today, the relevance of naval architecture is nobody can understate, particularly in a decade when the entire shipping industry is going through highly disruptive transition stages. In a scenario like this, the entire shipping industry is looking forward to the naval architecture community for guidance and professional leadership. Coming to Water Metro, yes, after seeing this impressive presentation from Shaji, I feel there is no doubt why India is nowadays projecting Kochi Water Metro as one of their iconic projects to the world transport system event. And I have a certain personal space in my heart for Kochi Metro. Number one, it is happened to be in my hometown, the Kochi. Number two, it is the boards are constructed by Kochi Shipyard, with whom I have one of the longest relationship. The vessels are classed with IRS, which we can call as our brethren organization. And above all, one of the key personnel involved with the Water Metro, Mr. Sergeant P. John, is my college mate and a close friend of mine. Whatever is there, I feel Kochi Water Metro is a landmark, is a path-breaking situation, either scenario which is created for the entire transport industry of the country. But I'm more impressed by the tagline of the seminar or talk which you have done. That is a green initiative. The subject very close to my heart because of my close association with that. But recognizing that this is a panel of, or the group of naval architects who are veterans in the technological side of the green initiatives in shipping, it will be a misadventure if I start talking on the technological aspect or technology-related matters of green initiative, which I do not like to. But as Professor Sivaprasad was mentioning, I will be failing in my duty unless I touch upon something on the policy angle of the green initiatives, particularly related with shipping in India. Because today the green initiative, including the green shipping, is more than technical matters. It is to a great extent a political affair. When I say political affair, it means certain angles to that. Number one, the geopolitics, which means the countries who had the geographical advantage of the fossil fuel natural resources always have some kind of dominance in the world energy scenario, which certainly has got some political advantages for them also. But today, seeing the at least for the last 10 years of the shipping related matters in green shipping related things, one thing I'm sure, we are at least seeing the beginning of the end of the fossil fuel era. Now the question will be, who is going to take over this space which is going to be vacated by the fossil fuel generators or the producers? The country is traditionally or historically being sidelined, like India, due to their disadvantage of not having the natural resources of fossil fuel, is now aggressively pursuing for this space. Not only India, many other countries who have had the disadvantage is trying to make this situation their opportunity. Number two, it is the technology politics. Technology politics in the sense that this new situation requires a lot of technological advancement, innovations, and even revolutions. Some of them are already there, some of them are under process, but those who already possess some lead to that or some kind of asset in that direction take this opportunity to propel or possess their initiatives into a regulatory framework so that they have the advantage of the early birds. Number three, the demographic politics, which India is India has got around 65% of their population in what you call productive age. So naturally, we have to engage them in some kind of creative thing, and for that, we need to have development. When the development means there is a natural need of the carbon emissions, so which the countries like India is looking forward to, how it is going to be addressed. So, and more importantly, the climate change politics, which is of very much interest for to listen, in fact. When I say climate change politics, as of today, if we stand, India is considered as the third largest emitter. So for example, China, the highest emitter, is emitting in 2009 statistics around 10.2 gigatons. US in second place with 5.2 or 5.3. So India is much below that, around 2.8 to 2.9. So on the percentage wise also, if you are seeing, China is contributing around 16% of the global pollution, emission as of now. India is somewhere around 4%. And on the other hand, the vital point is the 34% of the world emission, even today, comes from the 7 historical polluters or the lead developed countries, including United States, UK, Canada, Australia, Japan, Russia, and the EU, 34% even today. But consider, when we are having around 4% of contribution, means what is our population? We account for around 15% of the world population. 1.4 billion is a small number. Similarly, the China, which is 16%. So in effect, what is going to be the global it's a finite element. What is there available to the resources available in the nature is a finite element. It belongs to every individual of this country, in this world, every living of this country. I mean, in this world. So if you see the per capita emission, what happens is that the countries like Australia emits 16.2 tons per person. On the other hand, if you see just the vocal advocates of this emission reduction, they're like United States, contribute around 15.2. On the other hand, what about India? India's per capita emission is less than 1.9 per tons. In other way around, if you're talking about a person in US, emits 108 times more of CO2 than a person in Ethiopia. So this is the problem which we are facing. And the policy initiatives from India is based on this fundamental aspect of that, particularly the historical contribution towards the emission. When we are seeing the historical contribution from 1870 to 2019, the year is prominent because it is the year when the Climate Change Convention came into force. So if you're seeing that 76% of the pollution means emission had come from these 7 lead polluters. And on the other hand, China had contributed only 4% till that century. and India had only 1.36% of contribution in that particular century. But just see what happened in the next 2 to 3 decades, from 1989 to 2019. The scenario has changed. The historical emitters or the developed countries has considerably reduced their contribution to the emission. That is, they have come down from 76 to around 40%. But it does not stop there. The issue is that the China emerged as the lead emitter with the 28% on the other hand, from 4%. Imagine India had a marginal increase from 1.36 to somewhere around 4%. So what exactly happened? What exactly happened is the polluting production houses from developed countries were conveniently shifted to China. So it is not that the total emission has come down, only that the focus point or the point of emission has shifted from one place to other. So though the question here is, when the fundamental principle of the greenhouse emission negotiations is that the polluter must pay, who is the real polluter? Whether it is a producer or is it the consumer? So this is what the fundamental principle in which the government of India has always been placing their position in all the climate change negotiation tables across the world, including the UNFCCC, United Frameworks Convention on Climate Change, or the Conference of Parties, or even including in International Maritime Organization. That is called the climate change. Or in a crude line, in another language, if you are saying the common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. But just see, what happened is that what we are saying, what India is trying to say is that we are not against any emission control measures. In fact, India is one of the most vulnerable countries as far as the climate change issues are concerned, and it's a global issue, and it is to be addressed, not tomorrow, but today, in this hour, in this minute, in this second, if possible. But at the same time, our people have the right to have a better standard of living. So that has to be honored. And that means when you have a finite carbon budget, the 90% of it has already been exhausted by the overexploitation and exploration of the nature by the developed countries. At least the countries developing economies like India has a rightful share on the remaining carbon budget. So this is what the fundamental point which we are trying to make in every forum, and that is the basis of the green initiative or green policies of the government of India. So from that, if we are coming to 2015, the Paris Agreement, which is known as the prominent. So our Prime Minister had got certain landmark decision there, and from there, when it came to COP26 last year, in Glasgow, the declarations from the government or the Honorable Prime Minister has been, I think there is no parallel since any other developing economies. So he said without any compulsion, because there is under the UNFCCC or on the other convention related matters, there is no mandatory obligations on the Annex 2 countries like India to have a fixed or the declared target to control. It is on the Annex 1 countries only. But still, the government of India, Honorable Prime Minister declared the net zero emission by 2070. So number two, more important, he declared the carbon intensity related with the GDP will be reduced by 40% by 2030. That Professor Sivaprasad was asking for. Number three, he also mentioned that the power generation capacity will be 50% from renewables by 2030. These are the three land. Actually, there is a Panchamirta, there is a 5 commitment, but these three are vital and very important. So are these just the vocal statements, or how far we will be able to achieve? Gentlemen, the testimony stands with the recent national NDZ, what is the nationally determined contribution. the update which has been given to IPCC, the National Panel for Climate Change this year, which is a mandatory obligation from all governments. We have submitted that document, is there available for all of us to see. Just see what is the factual presentation on that. When we are saying that 40%, the carbon intensity will be reduced to 40% by 2030, we have already achieved 21% as of today. Then we are talking about the capacity for our generation will be 50% from renewables. We have already achieved 41%. So that means the commitment from the pledge from the Prime Minister is very realistic, achievable, and perhaps many of the experts say that India may be the only country which is particularly from the developing side economies to meet their commitments. So that is why today India is seen as world leader in negotiation tables of climate change across the world, including that in IMO. So when it comes to the shipping industry, because of its unique nature, but it has got certain advantages as well as disadvantages. First, the advantage is that it has got to have a global regulatory framework which needs to be enforced all through the world. The disadvantage is that whether we like it or not, the entire world shipping is governed through such regulations. So where do IMO stand today? So I have been part of the MEPC for the last around 10 years now, and for the several years, I'm the leader of the delegation. Seeing the development in IMO, I can see the writing on the wall is well clear. So they are going to have a highly ambitious target to be set, and which is going to be globally enforced, whether we like it or not. In what way it will come, it is only, that is the only thing which we can negotiate, and we can only get it done. Whether it can be, so already the operational measures are in place, the technical measures are every other day which is coming into force. The third phase is going to be the market-based measures, which is all inevitable. In my opinion, it is going to be there. It is inevitable, whether it is emission trading scheme or cap and trade or any other market-based measures, in some form or other, it is going to come. So the thing is that the shipping do not belong to the people who live in yesterdays or even for today's. The shipping belongs to the people who live in tomorrow's. That means every regulation which is coming from IMO opens up a plethora of opportunities for the great entrepreneurs and to explore and exploit. So how we will take advantage of this situation, how we'll capitalize on this change is what is going to be the actual winner of this phenomena. So we have seen it in that history, and today I can tell you that the Indian shipping, or the Indian, when I say Indian shipping, Indian, all kind of Indian associated industries in Indian shipping is seeing a highly prospective, or what you call the ambitious situation. I can feel it from the sitting in the maritime administration today, because the countries one after other is coming forward. Lead maritime administrations are coming forward to have some kind of tie-up or memorandum of understanding with the government of India, in particularly in green shipping related matters. It has been with Denmark. We have executed one with Norway, the one with the US, UK, Germany. France is in play, is under preparation, and the one is there with Singapore. And we already have the decision regarding the Center of Excellence in collaboration with the Denmark to be established in Delhi, where the Kochi shipyard is the lead agency for that. And we also have the proposal for a Center of Excellence in green shipping in a collaboration with Norway, which is maybe coming up in Bombay or somewhere. And the third, the one, some with the digitalized world is connected with along with the green shipping is there already in the pipeline with Singapore, which also might come through in very near future. What I want to say is that we also are going to have a great amount of opportunities for us. And this decade is going to be the highly decisive. And unless, if we lose out the opportunity this time, the next generation is not going to pardon us. And more importantly, in a scenario like this, when the shipping is going through a disruptive stage where they are looking for new directions, new innovative processes, it is a community which we are looking forward is the naval architecture community. And I think the onus and responsibility on the institution of naval architects is much higher in this scenario. And being from the maritime administration, may I appeal to all of you to come forward with innovative and supportive ideas for the green shipping initiatives. And we are only happy as a maritime administration to hear from you for some kind of projects which we are able to do. Thank you very much for inviting me to this session, and thank you very much for the patient hearing from your end. So in fact, the green shipping related thing, I keep on talking for hours, but due to the time constraints, let me conclude here. Thank you very much.
Excellent,
Excellent.
excellent.
It was excellent, very short, and we could also finish it within our time limit. We are very thankful to you, sir. Very enlightening speech. And we will now go to the question and answer session. We have received some 18 questions. I think Mr. Shaji PJ was so elaborate that the questions were answered during his speech. So we have, anyway, we have certain questions. I think Sri Muthuswamy, Dr. Krishnan Kuti, Mr. Balasubramaniam, Mr. Chuck, Dr. Ajith Shanai, they have raised some questions. I think if the organizers are agreeing, they can come online and ask questions. And I would request those who are giving questions, be specific on those questions only. No elaboration and no discussion. Please come with your specific questions, and you just say whom should answer this, who should answer this. I think if INA agrees to this, they can call one by one. First,
yes, sir. So on your direction, I can add one by one. So you can let me know, like maybe they can.
You can add, please, Mr. Muthuswamy.
Sure, sir. Yeah, he's in the panel right now. Mr. Muthuswamy, are you able to? Can you please?
Most of my questions has been answered. I see. Initially, so I'm fine with that. Most of them are answered.
Anyway, if you have any clarification, please come.
Nothing much I seen during this presentation. Most of which I raised in the beginning itself, it has been answered. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Swami. Mr. Commodore KK Verma, are you here in the platform? Would you please come?
I think Commodore Verma is not there right now. So maybe if he joins, then we can have him again. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Krishnan Kuti, please.
First of all, one correction. I'm not fortunate enough to be called doctor. I'm only Krishnan Kuti. I have already given the questions in the chat box. So I don't know if you can. They're very simple questions. One is about the solar power. I just wanted to know how much solar power can be produced by each boat if you occupy all the spaces available for installing the panels. And second is, with the weight of these panels and the related equipment, will it affect the dead weight of the weight or draft of the boat? The other question, again, about the floating jetty. I know I have seen I've been on board the vessel in Kochi. I have seen the floating jetty also, but I think with the tidal variation, you need a ramp to transit from the shore to the jetty. From jetty to boat, of course, absolutely no problem. This is my second question. And other one is to, sorry. One is to Sri Ajith Sukumaran. Of course, he has given a very absolutely fantastic speech with all the details at his fingertips without referring to anything and without even slowing down once in between. I'm not surprised because I have listened to him many times. My question is that in case of the pollution responsibility when you are apportioning. Right now, any industry owned by an Americans or Chinese or Japanese operating in India, India will be held responsible for the emission, right? Now, my question is that whether we can't have a system where, like in the ships, you have a port state and flag state, like that, the industry, if it's owned by an American, the responsibility must be held by the America and otherwise any other country. Is this possible to have a system like this? That is my question to Sukumaran sir.
Thank you, sir. If I can add a question on top of this to Mr. Shaji, why didn't you consider solar propulsion? That's an answer to the question given by
I think that there won't be enough space for producing the entire power from the solar. This is what I have learned from my studies into the system.
Okay. We will listen to Shaji.
If I may answer this question, I would say that like he already has mentioned, there is no point in going for solar power if the boat size is going to be increased, and we don't have any intention to have the solar power installed, the solar panels installed on the boat. Obviously it adds weight, and at this point in time we do not have we cannot have more weights added onto the current design of the boat. That's one point. Now, you talked about what is the total power which can generate. We have a plan to install solar power panels on the rooftops and the other available places of the floating pontoon canopy, etc. If we install all such pontoons, it is about 7.5% of the total requirement can be obtained, which is about 5,400 kilowatt hour is what we can get it if we install when we have all our 38 rooftops ready with the floating pontoon canopies. Otherwise, for the boats, we do not have a plan to have solar panels. I've already answered about the other thing. We want to use the solar power from our own solar power field, which is going to be about 50 acres plus land is required, which we have identified certain. We are just negotiating with the government to get it to us. So we have that plan to get on with the solar power, not on the boat.
Sir, Ajithkumar sir, your turn.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I think the question was regarding the polluter pays principle. Those which the countries are producing and how the pollution is accounted for. See, the internationally, the climate change related matters, including the emission, is controlled by the United Framework Convention on Climate Change, and it has got IPCC, International Panel for Climate Change again. So it is obligatory for every nation to have the annual updating of nationally determined contributions to the pollution. For each sector, by sector, whether it is land use or whether it is land-based or whether it is otherwise, they have to declare, assess, and there is a guideline given to how it is to be assessed. And based on that, each country has to every year update their national determined contribution to the IPCC. This is an official document available. And there are so many voluntary agencies which go through these kind of reports and critically analyze and report to the international media. So it is not so feasible to have manipulations on that. But I do admit that there are no third-party kind of like port state and flaxes kind of inspection or auditing of such kind of thing. And hopefully it might come in future if today it is like an voluntary declaration. From that, if it is going to be an obligatory part, and if the commerce or the economics come into the picture, like emission trading scheme is globally established, then it is a matter of money. So then the accountability will become more transparent, I feel. So, and for the so regarding the shipping pattern, it is it is a DCS. That means annually it is declared to the IMO, but it is based on the flag state. But ultimately, our point also is that how you are going to assess the end user or the actual polluter to decide on this is still a vague situation. and it needs to be addressed, I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next turn is Sri S. Balasubramaniam. S. Balasubramaniam is here. Would you please kindly come over?
Mr. Balasubramaniam also may have, like he may, it's not there in the chat right now, so maybe we can, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then in the beginning it was 52. Now it has reduced. The participants reduced below 30. Probably these people are leaving, and I would request Mr. Chuck, if he's here, please come over and repeat your question.
Yes, my question is very simple. You see, the regular commuters, for them, each and every minute is important. So that is why I ask, are they happy with this speed of 8 to 10 knots?
If you ask me, the current system is about 5 knots only. So obviously they will be happier than the current system. And you have a limitation to go for more speed in the arrangement, because you have a very it's inland water, so you cannot go with a very high speed too. However, as I told you, the time saving is of great significance over here, because actually from 2 stations like Fort Kochi to Ernakulam, it takes at least an hour in the normal hours. Otherwise, it is about 1.5 to 2 hours, which is going to be covered in 20 minutes, which is going to be a good saving for the people. So the speed with which it is going, when you travel on the boat with 8 knots, you really feel you're going on a high speed in the water.
Okay, but you see, in this case, you said this same system may be used in other rivers and other locations.
Yeah.
What do you think that this speed will be okay, or you need more?
So that depending on the water depth available and the width of the river or lake or whatever is available, we can increase the speed. There's no problem. If that the surroundings permits it, we can.
Sir, Shaji, can I add one point?
Please. Yeah, please.
Cochin, if you see the geography of Cochin, the people who are staying very near to, they have houses very near to the channel. So anything happens, if the wave created crosses the boundary, then there will be a political problem here in Cochin. I've experienced that. So there is a restriction in Cochin. We cannot go beyond 7 knots. Okay. Dr. Ajit Shranai, his ancestral home is at Waipin, and he has mentioned that during his childhood days, he has experienced a lot of these problems. Dr. Ajit Shranai, are you here?
He's there as in the panelist group.
Okay, can you please come and ask the question? Dr. Rajesh Shranai, please.
Yes, sir, if you can mute yourself, Mr. Ajit Shranai. Yeah.
Professor Shranai, if you can unmute yourself and join our discussion.
Professor Shranai, is it possible for you to unmute, sir? Yeah.
Is he coming?
No. I think
let's go to the next question. If it's
yeah. We can go to the next questions.
No, he's there. He's there on the panel.
Yeah.
So if he's there, we'll come back to him afterwards.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Okay, if Dr. Ajit Shranai is coming, that will be the last question. Otherwise, no questions are seen in the question answer box.
Just now, sir, one question just came. Just at a minute back.
Okay,
Yeah, let me.
One more question has come. That is from Mr. Wadia. Would you please come?
Hello, good evening, everyone. So my question is regarding the batteries. Hello.
Yeah, it's about what are the provisions for protecting the batteries from fire?
Yeah, because generally these batteries are catching fire on small vehicles. So here we have series of batteries. So is the batteries having some liquid or forced cooling?
There is thermal protection in the battery, which I won't be able to technically correct you with the answer, but there are protection available in the batteries. It's a Encantia cells being used. They have already intimated it. There are spaces allowed within the batteries for giving the resistance to fire, which I technically am not able to explain you the thing, but there are provisions, and it's there as part of the batteries chemistry or structure.
Okay. And so do we plan to replace the batteries next time made in India, or the battery and the portion is imported?
As of now, what we understand is this LTO batteries factory is going to be started in the Surat. So surely it's not far away that these batteries are going to be available in India. So obviously we'll go for it, or we'll go for the next version of it. The current plan, the Encantia cells themselves said they are going to be starting their operation from India soon.
And so last question, this boats are going to be run on a daily basis. So what is your projection in how many years the batteries need to be replaced for electric boats?
The battery's life is 35,000 cycles. We are charging about 10 to less than 15, 10 to 12 charging per day. So 7 to 10 years is the lifetime of the battery.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Another naval architect enthusiast from Cochin has joined. He has one question. Commodore Rajiv Sridharan, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sridharan, you can come on video also, all of you actually.
Yeah. I would excuse
myself. Never mind. Go ahead, please.
But yeah, maybe next time I should be prepared for that. But can I just quickly ask Shaji, wonderful lecture, Shaji, and good, insight into what you've been doing for the water metro. I just have a question. You said it is, you can have full electric operations from the battery with 122 kilowatt hour and the route that you're working on. Do you think that at 8 knots is this a bit undersized?
No, this is the see what the battery's maximum capacity is 122 kilowatt hour, 61 kilowatt hour each for each battery cells. Yeah, it is having a bit more capacity than the power requirement. If you ask me, the power actually taken, the designed for its optimized design for 38 kilowatt was the power designed, and we took only 34 for the 8 nodes. So yes, there is extra power available in the battery.
Okay, I mean, does it mean that you can do your entire operational cycle for one cycle without charging with this battery?
The charging cycle is scheduled for 20% to 80%. So with the 60% of charging, we can operate for 1 hour.
Okay, so 1 hour. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
1 hour service, and we have charging stations at regular terminals where we can have more than 1 hour operation is not going to be there in any of the routes. So we can embarkation, disembarkation in between that time we can charge the boat and go. It's 13 minutes, 10 to 13 minutes charging time for 60%.
Okay. Yeah, understood. That answers my question. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, can we wind up the question and answer session?
Yes, I think Professor Shena has got a difficulty in unmuting himself. So perhaps we can consider Professor Shenoy's question, sir.
Pardon?
We can consider Professor Shenoy's question because we are able to read it.
Okay.
I'll just read Professor Shenoy's question on his behalf.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah. He just wanted to know what is the ticket pricing structure? Is there any subsidies involved? And what is the payback period for the capital costs? This was his first question. And the second question was, how does the Metro Board program integrate with previously existing road routes from Cochin Corporation, private operators, and KSRTC? These were his two questions, and he has also appreciated and complimented the talks.
Shaji, it's a common man's question. Ajithkumar was a regular commuter there. So
all right. Okay. Yeah, the ticket structure has already been published by Government of Kerala. Order is already come out with 20 rupees as the charge, but with a discretion to the board of directors and the managing director of the board, the water metro operation. There's one company called Kochi Water Metro Limited, which is going to be operating the services on behalf of Government of Kerala. And the board of directors have the power to change anything at any time. As of now, 20 rupees is the minimum charge announced. And there are many discussions happening for having discounts for the regular passengers, etc. But this will be decided by the board of directors of Kochi Water Metro Limited. That was the first part of the question. The second part of the question was, can you repeat the second part of the question? Yeah,
with the existing systems of KSRTC.
Yeah, existing existing. There are. I was mentioning about the reliability of the system. Now, these both bodies are under the same department of the government, transport department. So we cannot eliminate anything now until the other system is getting established. When we have the full establishment of the Kochi Water Metro, the current system can be adjusted. Till then, we cannot touch on it. So that's why government is not doing anything. But there will be some kind of a gradual winding of might take place from the government. But this will be decided again by the government. It's both are coming under the same department. So as of now, if we cannot take the entire transport system available now out, because the people will suffer. Only when we establish the entire operations of the water metro, this will be all the places we can make a arrangement for these people. Only about 9 boats are applying from the state government boats now, but Kochi Water Metro is going to have 78 boats coming out with regular intervals, a fixed timing. Even if there is no people, it will go on that particular time. That is what it means. Which means we will have a say 15 minutes interval means 10, 10, 15, 10 to 30, 10, 10, 45, 11 o'clock. It will move. So that will bring in, even if the initial stages, even if they don't have, there is no people, we will go. That will bring in the trust, bring in trust to the people, and they will then come and wait for the boat. This is what we are anticipating.
Shaji, can you consider some concession for naval architects and marine engineers?
For sure, we will. Obviously, we'll take it up with the board because I cannot make that decision anyway. Yeah. Thank you so much. There is no further question. Thank you. Second for all the organizers. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as concluding remark, I would like to mention that Sukumaran sir has mentioned about the policy that our Honorable Prime Minister has given a word to the world that we will be doing something. And the same, whatever he has given, whatever he has promised to the nation, promised to the world, Cochin Metro is implementing that. Suppose he might have said some 40% reduction, and Kochi Metro is a part of that, and they are also reducing considerable amount of carbon footprint. And the action the promise and action is combined here. And this particular session, we have a feeling that we are going to achieve, the Indian government is going to achieve something towards the world environmental protection. Thank you very much for inviting me and giving me a chance to chair this session. And thank you very much for all the facilities made available to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to conclude today's session with a thanks first. As we are going to celebrate the World Maritime Day, the end of this week on 29th, this was a very apt topic and a very apt chief guest from DG Shipping, who has actually enlightened us both the policies as well as our goals of 2030, which is very relevant and very contemporary. And as Naval Architects, very specifically, we also have to put in our best to achieve that. Thank you, sir, for your good enlightened speech. Professor Sivaprasad was my teacher in university, and since then, after a long time, I again reconnected with him, and it was he shared the session very well, and I knew that he was in some way associated with this project, and so I thought he would be the right fit. And indeed, today's session we saw was the right fit, and thank you. Shaji sir, thanks. It was a great lecture, very informative. And today's attendance and today's questions prove that it was a very lively session. Thank you, sir. And we also thank all the people who came for the Q&A and made it much more lively discussions. Today, we also remember, we started with the remembrance, and we also remember Mr. Kochhar and Mr. Pathobarman Roy, and we'll hold this Pathobarman Roy's memory session as convenient and as early as possible. With that, I'll also thank the background people. First is Mr. Dasgupta, who's always been an advisor, INA president, who's advising us and encouraging us to do these lectures every month, which are not missed for many months. Thank you, sir, for all the support and advices. And Amir, who is the actual person who is actually running around, correcting with us. And Selvi, who make all the communications possible and the seamless way that we have been doing this webinar for all these days. Thank you, sir. With your permission, we can conclude for the day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.